Breaking update coming in, and Jharkhand is going to get a new chief minister most likely tomorrow on February 2nd, because we've just got information that the Jharkhand governor has in fact invited Champai Soren to take oath as the chief minister. If I can ask my producers to put that picture up that we have got, which shows the governor with that, in fact, along with Champai Soren. If you can put that picture up there on your screens right now. So Champai Soren, who in fact met the governor earlier today, had in fact staked claim to become the chief minister, the next chief minister of Jharkhand. For more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Saurabh Gupta. Saurabh, so finally a date given. Earlier in the day, we saw Champai Soren saying that he's got an assurance from the governor, but there was no clarity on date, when, how the oath-taking ceremony is going to take place. Finally, it seems that Champai Soren is going to take oath as the next chief minister of Jharkhand on Friday.
That's right. In fact, with no assurance forthcoming from the governor, in fact, the Congress JMM decided to fly out their MLAs to Telangana. But weather played sports. The MLAs boarded the flight but couldn't take off. But now it seems the governor also going by the constitutional norms, where the largest formation which has the majority has to be invited to form government, has done exactly that. The governor has, of course, taken his time to ascertain the majority of the ruling bloc and then call them. And it seems that finally the political uncertainty in the state of Jharkhand after the resignation of Soren could come to an end with the swearing in of a chief minister. But again, nothing is, nothing can be said for certain in politics. And there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. But it seems that the political uncertainty in Jharkhand could be headed towards the...
Right, Saurabh, this is significant because we had seen JMM actually making multiple attempts in order to keep its flock together. There were also these apprehensions that there might be poaching bid made on their MLAs, which is why there was an effort by JMM to actually whisk off all their MLAs to Telangana, which is a ally state, which is a Congress-ruled state. They were fearing an Operation Lotus in Ranchi. And but keeping all that in mind, there was a push from them in order to ensure that the next chief minister of the state is from the party itself. And now there seems to be some clarity on that and a bit of a relief for JMM, most likely, now that a date has been given for the oath-taking ceremony.
Yes, it seems with a date finally there is some relief, but the relief is never complete till actually that oath-taking happens. And that oath-taking is scheduled now to happen tomorrow. And, Jharkhand will finally have a government. Remember, it's still without a government for the last few hours, at least 24 hours or so, after Hemant Soren resigned. But finally, it seems Jharkhand will have a new government with the swearing in of Champai Soren, which the governor also seems to have agreed to. And there will be a new government. Remember, like I said, such was the worry in the JMM Congress camp that they decided to fly out their MLAs to Telangana. But again, like I said, very heavy, dense fog, bad weather meant that the MLAs could not fly out.
Exactly. Saurabh, just for the benefit of our viewers, take us through all the developments of the day, especially in the evening, from the visit to the governor house, to the dash that the MLAs made to take a flight, a chartered plane to Telangana, and now this late night development coming in of the fact that the governor has actually given a date, invited Champai Soren to actually take oath as the chief minister tomorrow.
That's right. It seems certain that now Champai Soren will finally take oath, with the governor agreeing that he does have the majority. Remember that video, that also Champai Soren shared with the governor, where the MLAs all lined up and said, counted numbers, and that finally seems to have convinced the governor that, look, the majority is there, and that Champai Soren should be called to form government.
Right, Saurabh, we had discussed this earlier in the day today, but if you can also once again, for the benefit of our viewers, take us through the background and the profile of Champai Soren. He is known as a very close aide of Hemant Soren, an old hand in Jharkhand, in JMM. He's of course been a trusted aide of the former Jharkhand chief minister. So if you can just tell us a very quiet, unassuming sort of a leader there, slated to take the reins of the state now.
obviously, he's one of the known tribal faces in the JMM, though he's not related to the family. He is someone who's been a close aide of the Shibu Soren, who's worked with him and been with the party since the Shibu Soren days. Remember, Shibu Soren is the founder of the JMM and also the man who led the agitation for the separate state of Jharkhand, which finally happened. Shibu Soren was also Chief Minister of Jharkhand at one point of time. But, now that Hemant Soren was Chief Minister and his arrest led to Hemant Soren initially proposing the name of his wife, Kalpana Soren. But Kalpana Soren, there were two issues. One is she was not a member of the Legislative Assembly, which meant she would have to get elected. And with less than a year to go before the elections in Jharkhand, state elections, there was uncertainty over whether the Election Commission would call a by-poll. And therefore, she would have to resign in 6 months, which would mean that the government again would have to go for a minister in the next 2 months. So obviously this is something that played out. Also the fact that there was opposition from within the Soren family, because remember there are others, including Sita Soren, the widow of Durga Soren, who also was a claimant of the chief minister's post. So all of those things in mind, finally the consensus candidate seems to be Champai Soren, a man who's been with the Soren family, been with the JMM since its inception, has worked, is a well-known tribal face, and is someone who, the Sorens also trust. Therefore, his name was the consensus candidate. And, for those of our viewers who are following us at the platform, the whole, on how Trump emerged as the consensus candidate on NDTV.com, they can also go and read that copy. But obviously, this feels like Champai Soren's moment of glory, from being a humble worker in the party to finally ascending to the minister's post. That goal finally seems within reach.
That's right, Saurabh. And before I let you go, so if you can just tell our viewers, there are a number of developments in this big story, which has got political aspects, legal aspects lined up on Friday. So what all can we expect to take place? If you can just quickly take our viewers through the legal aspects which are going to play out in the courts tomorrow, and also this big swearing-in ceremony now.
Well, two things. Today, of course, the special PMLA court or the local court did not pass its orders. Instead, it reserved its judgment because Hemant Soren, who had earlier moved the High Court, also moved the Supreme Court on the matter after the High Court, I beg your pardon, posted the hearing for later. The Supreme Court has taken cognizance of the matter. So in that context, obviously, the lower court was not going to pass orders, and it reserved its judgment and sent Hemant Soren to judicial custody for a day. Tomorrow, after the Supreme Court proceedings are over, the lower court is likely to pass its orders, and the Supreme Court, what the Supreme Court says on this is going to be closely watched by the JMM and everyone else in the state. Also, apart from that, the lower court order is also going to be important because that's going to establish how many days of custody Hemant Soren is going to get, depending on again what the Supreme Court says. And then you will finally have that swearing in also if the governor fixes a time.
Right.